So I'm about to take a look at this new trailer for Spider-Man Remastered on PlayStation 5. What the fuck? Who is that?
To celebrate. Celebrate? Wait. Where are the arms?
Oh, hell no. What the fuck? What the hell did y'all do to my boy, yo? When it comes to the character Spider-Man and how the character has been depicted so far in live action or anywhere close to the state of realism, Tobey Maguire is the best version of the character. Just talking live action. Tobey Maguire was perfectly able to balance both the nerdy aspect of the character and the vigilante heroic aspect perfectly. Whereas his successors have fumbled in one way or another. For example, Andrew Garfield, whom I consider to be the worst on-screen live-action portrayal of the character, played a terrible Peter Parker, who was just some skateboard grunge, cringe-worthy douchebag, basically. And he played Spider-Man as a douche, to the point where the character was no longer likable. And then Tom Holland, the problem with Tom Holland is that he plays up the high schooler aspect so much to the point where you can't take the character seriously. But a lot of that more or less has to do with how the character is written rather than Tom Holland himself. Tom Holland as Spider-Man is good, but only in the context of his appearances in the MCU. Basically, what I'm saying is, outside of the MCU, I don't want to see any version of Spider-Man that remotely resembles Tom Holland or Andrew Garfield. The thing I really loved about Spider-Man PS4 is that, similar to what Sam Raimi did with his Spider-Man films, which goes back to the Tobey Maguire version of the character, is that Insomniac wisely went with an older Peter Parker. At age 23, Peter Parker in this game has been Spider-Man for 8 years. And with me, I will be turning 27 years old very soon. And so I don't connect to a character that resembles anything that looks like a teenager, which is what they've done here with this fucking piss poor redesign of Peter Parker for Spider-Man Remastered. And then on top of that, I decided to take a closer look at the differences between the PS4 version and the PS5 version, because for this so-called remaster, they want you to spend extra money to get this remaster. You can't buy it separately. You have to purchase it. As far as I understand, you have to purchase it with Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS5 if you want the remastered version of Spider-Man PS4. And so you have to spend $70 to get this. And from the graphical differences that I've seen, nothing on the PS5 version, as far as the graphics go, is a definite improvement over what you had in the PS4 version. Everything just looks oversaturated by comparison in the PS5 version. Like they just took the lighting and just raised the contrast, so everything just looks brighter. But clearly, if you look at the PS4 version, the shadows on the character models and in the environment are more defined than what you have on the PS5 version of this particular game. And so, even on the graphical level, this remaster doesn't make much sense. And then that's not all, because and he has there's more details in the face of the original PS4 version of Peter Parker. So that's another thing. But something else I was thinking about is that you have characters like Mary Jane in this game, and then you have Miles Morales. These characters are all supposed to be around the same age. Well, specifically, Peter Parker and Mary Jane are supposed to be around the same age, like in their early 20s. Miles Morales is supposed to be, I guess, in his late teens, mid to late teens, or something like that. And if you take a look at Mary Jane here, clearly, because Mary Jane, no matter which version of the character you're talking about, Mary Jane is supposed to contrast whoever that specific version of Peter Parker is. And they did a great job at creating a version that matches this specific Peter Parker. And so I don't know who did the face model for Mary Jane, but as far as who did the face model for Peter Parker, someone named John Bubniak. They used his likeness for Peter Parker for Spider-Man PS4. And instead, for this remaster, they went with someone called Ben Jordan, who just looks like a discount Tom Holland. And then on top of that, people have been complaining on social media, on Twitter, your PS4 save won't transfer to PS5. The graphics look noticeably worse in the PS5 version compared to the PS4 version. They completely changed the look of Peter Parker, so now he looks like a discount Tom Holland instead of the Peter Parker that we grew to know in the PS4 version of the game. And so all of this is on top of the fact that they want you to spend at retail $70 to get the so-called bullshit Ultimate Launch Edition of this game, so you can have the remastered version. But clearly, the remastered version isn't even worth owning at this point, considering every poor decision that's gone into it. The worst, of course, being that they changed Peter Parker's look, something that's far worse than the original version, among other things that I also mentioned in this video. And yeah, $70 for this when I don't even have to own a PlayStation 5 in the first place to play the damn game, and I can just spend $50 to play the game on a console that I already own. I mean, this is what I'm talking about with the nonsense with the video game industry. It's always something with this industry. It's always something with these game developers and publishers. This redesign of Peter Parker, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then you have, as I mentioned before, you have Mary Jane and Miles Morales standing next to this new version of Peter Parker. It's just not going to look right at all. It'll be like they're interacting with a little kid by comparison. Yeah, fuck this remaster of Spider-Man PS4. And I'm saying right now, if this is going to be the new face model for Peter Parker for the subsequent Spider-Man sequels, the actual sequel, because Miles Morales is just an expansion of the original game. If this is going to be the new face model for Peter Parker, I will not support Insomniac Games anymore when it comes to anything that's related to their Spider-Man games. This is not Peter Parker. This is some reject, like I said, discount Tom Holland from fucking Hot Topic. That's what this is. This is Peter Parker to me. This is someone who looks like he's of age, someone who looks like he's had some experience in life, and actually knows what the hell he's doing under the mask, in that costume, the iconic costume that everyone knows and loves. This is Peter Parker to me. I will not support this remaster. Fuck Insomniac Games for this. It's like, how dare you try and charge $70 for some half-ass bullshit. And then on top of that, you can't carry your save file over. You can't carry your save file over, but they want you to spend money and try and entice you with some shitty costume from a shitty movie, from a failed series of films that Sony released themselves. They want to try and entice you to go out and spend $70 on this half-ass remaster. This costume is still ugly. It doesn't matter if it's in game or if it's just in person on screen, whatever. This costume is ugly as shit. It was ugly in the movie and it's ugly here. I'm not spending $70 to play as fucking Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. So they can kiss my ass with this. Fuck anyone who defends this shit. If you buy this, you're a fucking moron. And I stand behind what I say. If this is going to be the new Peter Parker, then I'm out. I'm good. I'll stick with the PS4 game. Complete nonsense.